Hello everyone, Katya Paprika here, and on this channel we prepare healthy food together. And today I have another selection for you of completely useful ingredients without adding sugar. Suitable for vegetarians, fasting individuals, and those who cannot consume dietary sugar. Everything is prepared very simply and elementarily. For this we will need a dryer. Today I will be experimenting with a True Troken 53 dryer, or we will need a convection oven because we will be cooking at such low temperatures and we need such a warm air blow. Let's start with a very basic recipe. You can cook, of course, using fresh vegetables if you have, for example, a lot of your own harvest. You can go the lazy way like me and do everything in just a few seconds using ready-made puree. Let's prepare two versions of pasta. For the first one I take pumpkin puree, believe me, it's so delicious that you won't notice it's pumpkin. We'll add honey to taste for 30 grams of puree, 1 or 2 tablespoons. And all you need to do is stir the dough or form with parchment. You need to grease with oil so that the pasta comes off well when ready and pour the puree. My 300 grams is enough, ideally on the dough, so that the thickness is approximately 1 centimeter. Distribute the mass a little with a spatula and then shake so that the puree lies in an even layer. I highly recommend adding Greek ore here. I have 40 grams sprinkled on top with a nut crumb, and the first option is ready for the next stage, and while I will show the second option this time, everything is even simpler. I have apple-pear puree already, so sweet we don't add anything, only if desired sprinkle with cinnamon or cardamom. This option is a little thinner. I have here a can of puree in 250 grams. Personally, I lack a little thickness. And we send our options to the dryer or oven in my model. It is convenient to set the temperature, and time of control sensor is very convenient. Pasta until and is cooked at 50-60 degrees for up to 20 hours. I set 6 apple option thinner, and pumpkin stood at me 8 due to the fact that in the process of cooking uses warm, not hot air. All the useful properties of products are not lost but are preserved. Ventilation is carried out with the help of uniform air circulation. The dryer is very quiet, accommodating. I cooked many recipes at once. If the pasta is not sticky, then it is ready and can be removed. I cut it into squares and roll it up into small rolls. Pumpkin with nuts is just top, but you can experiment with different fruits and even vegetables. I highly recommend looking at dryers for those who have a lot of their own crop. If you have gardens and vegetable gardens, you can easily reduce the volume and weight of all your crop. You will not have mold. It will be stored for a long time. By the way, my dryer comes with such a functional vegetable cutter, which can help you quickly deal with all your crops. Also included is a very convenient thing. It's a collection of recipes for the dehydrator, where you will find a lot of interesting things, how to prepare both meat and fish and various dried fruits. But there is also an important thing. It's advice on how to prepare, how not to make mistakes, and all the subtleties are written down. You can check out my model in the description to this video, and we will move on with you and prepare very useful bars for breakfast. Here you can also make puree yourself, or you can take ready-made and also add various nuts and berries. I take medium-sized oat flakes, add dates for sweetness, a little vegetable oil. I have coconut. I pour a can of ready-made apple-pear puree, a little lemon juice and honey if you lack sweetness from the added dried fruits. We simply mixed our mass to a thick state so that we could mold a dough bar. If anything, add dry ingredients, and now we make a shape with even edges, and with a knife or spatula we make cuts to outline the shape of future bars. The thinner the bar, the faster it will cook. Mine are somewhere 2.5 centimeters. We send it to the grill parchment with bars and into the dryer or oven for 5 hours. First 3 hours on one side and then turn over and hold for another 2 hours. If you want hard bars that can be stored for a long time, then increase the cooking time and dry much longer. Mine are soft, very tasty. They flew away in one morning. And finally, I want to show you now how to prepare a meringue or meringue. I don't particularly distinguish these concepts right in the comments what they differ in, and I came across the fact that there are plenty of recipes on the internet with sugar substitutes, and everywhere such beautiful and meringue-like, very textured, very embossed are shown. I looked at this. For a very long time, I couldn't understand and believe that without sugar you can make this crystalline lattice. So that it all holds up well, I decided to try to cook with Fit Parade, and I will show you what it will look like with sugar powder. In principle, even if you use powdered sugar, it's far from a high-calorie dessert. Because, for example, look, in this cup I now have 70 grams of meringue, which was prepared with powdered sugar. There are not many calories here at all, considering that I can eat a maximum of, 6 or 7 pieces at a time, and I have a sweet tooth, so it becomes kind of sweet for me. I eat this with coffee and put it aside. I've had this can for a week now. So now I'll show you how to prepare such a dessert and how it will look with whipped cream and powdered sugar. The main thing is to take perfectly clean and dry dishes, otherwise the proteins will not whip. You can rub the bowl with lemon for whipping, the proteins will whip better. We immediately separate the yolks from the whites from the refrigerator. Be careful, if even a drop of yolk gets in, the whites won't whip as needed. And now we whip the whites. First at minimal rotations, drawing figure 8s with the whisk, and then we increase the power and whip the whites into a firm foam. And at this stage we add either a sweetener or powdered sugar or lemon juice. I'll show the difference later. For coloring, you can take berries that need to be mashed and squeeze out the puree through a sieve. Just a few drops so as not to change the consistency of our whites. And with the sweeteners, essentially, we get such a sweet protein foam. We strain it through a sieve onto parchment and send it to dry at 45 degrees for 6 to 7 hours, or I prepared the sugar version at 70 degrees for already 3 hours. And if you add sugar powder instead of sweetener, the protein mass will be glossy, stretchy and thick. This is real meringue thick. And this is what the finished version with sweetener looks like. Very crunchy sweet foam. And this is what the bezel looks like with powder. The process is the same, fewer calories, but a colossal difference. Dense meringue, crunchy porous. In short, choose what you like the most.